Staying independent for as long as you can is one of the most important things that we have as humans, as individuals, and as people. The thing is that we want to hang on to and reserve our level of independency for as long as we can. And independency is really subjective. It can mean whatever you want it to be. So it could be that your ability to get up and off the ground. It could be your ability to continue on with the sports you enjoy doing, or maybe the hobbies that you have. Nonetheless, what you want to do is you want to sustain that for as long as you possibly can, and there's only one way to be able to sustain that level of intensity, intensity being relative, meaning that the ability to continue on with the rate you're going at, with what you're doing and how much you love doing it. And so in order for us to make sure that you're ensured that you can do that for as long as you possibly can, we need to make sure that we're adding in a certain something to get you there, and that certain something is functional strength training. Functional strength training can help you live a fuller life by helping you maintain your independence and allowing you to continue to do what you love doing, whether it's your work, whether it's your hobbies, whether it's playing with the kids, whatever it may be, for as long as you possibly can. And the reason for functional strength training being the best choice for that is because what it is. And if you're not familiar with what functional strength training is replicating movements that we do in our daily lives, such as walking, lunging, squatting, bending, pushing, pulling, twisting, all these different movements, and using those movements in your exercise routine or your workout routine, whatever word we want to use to describe it, and using those movements as ways to improve upon the body and how it functions. So let's take, for example, kettlebell squats. Kettlebell squats are one of my favorite ways to help introduce people into squatting, but it also has that carryover of just naturally getting up and off the floor. Another exercise that is very practical and functional is a deadlift. Now, deadlifting can be done with a lot of different tools, but nonetheless, what it is your ability of bending over. And so you're taking these movements that we do in everyday life and we're adding exercises to it to get us better at moving. And that's what functional strength training is helping you become a more functional, better human so that you can keep living independently and love what you do without the hesitation or without the restrictions of feeling like you're unable to do it. Because again, it's an expression of independency, of our ability to do the things we love doing and not feeling held back by anything. Now, one way to separate or to better understand what functional strength training is and why it's different from other modalities of exercise is because a lot of functional strength training workouts are going to consist of you using free weights, specifically kettlebells, sandbags, dumbbells, maybe some resistant bands, maybe a TRX, maybe we're using some steel maces like we do here. We're using a lot of different implements that make you use your body versus sitting on a machine and isolating a specific joint. I've said this before and I'll say it again, you cannot isolate specific muscle groups. You can emphasize them, but you're going to be using a lot of different muscles within that movement. And so when it comes to functional strength training, we're always targeting lots of muscles at one time versus if I were to sit on a cable fly machine, I'm only able to do this movement. I isolate this specific joint, which is going to be the shoulder, and the emphasis is going to be on the upper chest. Now, I don't know about you, the only time I do this motion in my everyday life is when I'm hugging somebody. And so if you want to get better at hugging, by all means, do the pec deck. But if you want to get better at having stronger posture and just an overall stronger body, you want to do movements such as a push-up or maybe a TRX row. That way it's replicating the movement that we do in everyday life, but it has that carryover. So one of the differences between functional strength training and traditional training is that we don't use machines. Your body's a machine, and I'm teaching you how to use your body to become that machine. Another difference with functional strength training is you're getting more stabilization within the entirety of the body. So take, for example, another exercise that you do seated, which is a lat pull down. So the lat pull down is a great exercise to help you strengthen your upper back and your lats. However, you're in a seated position which takes away some of the core function. And so if you're in a seated position, your glutes aren't necessarily firing, your core is not going to be as active, so you're missing a huge amount of muscle group involved. So another example to substitute the lat pull down, again, not a bad exercise, but if you want to get better, what you can do is a TRX chin up. Or maybe if you have the ability, you can do a regular chin up as well. So you get more muscles to help you fire and to keep stable as you're moving versus taking a seat like I am right now and trying to do movement. Another difference with functional strength training versus traditional training is that what you're going to see is a mind-body connection. A lot of times I hear my clients say, wow, I really have to think about that. Well, yeah, we're using the body and the brain at the same time. And if we've been keeping up with current research, what we're looking at is how we want to continuously improve our cognitive health, which is our brain, and our ability to think and to function as we age, because that can help us have a longer, better life. And with mindless exercises like you're standing and just doing curls, like, yeah, you're getting a little bit of a pump and that's cool, but you're not really using much of your brain involved because all you're doing is bending your elbow. Now, if you were to take a different exercise, like a single arm dumbbell row, you're getting the body to move in a way where it's stabilizing, but you have to really think about what's happening, how you're feeling the elbow slide back, how your shoulder blade's moving with you, and you get a lot of other pieces moving together. But one of my favorite exercises to help people put that mind-body connection is either the Turkish get-up, it might be a bird dog, you might be seeing dead bugs. These are movements that are making you use multiple movements within one exercise. So take, for example, the get-up. There's so many steps within it, and you have to think for a while until you get the movement down and you own it. But from there, you're adding in load, which makes it even harder, and from there, it just gradually builds up into more progression. With functional strength training, it does help you build a more independent life versus doing traditional workouts. Because let's be honest, most traditional workouts aren't going to help you focus on the mind-body connection. They're not going to have an emphasis on mobility. They're not going to challenge your body in different planes of motion, which is a fancy word for moving in different directions. But more importantly, they're not going to get you to focus on stabilizing your entire body, connecting it all together so that you can function as a whole person. Remember, you don't drive your car on one tire, you use all four tires when you're driving. So why would your body be any different? So if you're looking at wanting to live more independently and to sustain that for as long as you possibly can, I strongly encourage you to go ahead and switch over to functional strength training. Because of the results that we're seeing here with our members and the things that I'm hearing from them is results like, I feel younger. I can do more than I have now than I did when I was in my 20s. And so on and so forth with those results. And it's empowering to see people regain their life, but more importantly, live the life that they want. So if you're somebody who's been on the fence or kind of figuring out what I should do now in this transition with life so that I can maintain my independence, I recommend doing functional strength training. If you found this video helpful, please share it with a friend, and I'll see you in the next one.